The hardest part about helping someone is staying out of their way. If facilitating is easy, why is there so much training? The work of Byron Katie is a process that each of us has to do ourselves. It's a meditation. No one can meditate for us. Yet, it can be great to do the work with another person, and that person can ask the questions and listen to your answers. And this is called facilitation because it makes it easier. That's what the word facilitate actually means, to make easy. So when someone asks the questions to you, you can simply let your focus go inside and find your answers. You don't have to think about the process, just the experience that is coming up from inside. Sometimes I say facilitation is the easiest job in the world. And it's true. Facilitation doesn't require that I know anything about the person's problem or how to find any solution for them. It doesn't require study or expertise. It doesn't even require previous experience dealing with the same issue. Instead, the role of a facilitator is simple. Take notes as the person brainstorms to find what stressful thoughts are causing them their stress in a particular situation. Then, once you've brainstormed, you can pick one of those stressful thoughts and go through the 4 questions with them. So you ask the questions, and then you prompt them to give turnarounds and examples, and you listen. And the only other role that a facilitator has is to notice if the person stops answering the questions and then remind them which question they're answering. So just bring them back by asking them again, oh yeah, so how do you react? Or where do you feel it in your body? Or whatever the question is that they were answering. If it sounds simple, that's because it is. It's a job of holding the space for someone and holding them in the process of doing the work. Nothing more. It's not the job of the facilitator to help the person have a breakthrough. So like a big misconception. Oh, I have to help them. I'm responsible for them. I need to, they're coming to me. Like that's not the job of a facilitator. The job of a facilitator is simply to hold the space. And so breakthroughs come or don't come from inside the person doing the work. It's a process of self-discovery, and I think that's really, really important. Self-discovery, as opposed to teaching or coaching or therapy, all of which are great. But this is a particular process of self-discovery, and we want that person to have their own experience as much as possible. So, if it's so simple, why is there so much training? Byron Katie and the Institute for the Work offer courses for improving your facilitation skills, and I've gone through that program. And I'm also planning a program for doing this, for training a little bit on facilitation. It's going to be called the Work 102, and it's going to be all about spoken work. And it's not anywhere ready, close to being ready, but someday I will be creating that, and we'll get into some of the nuances of spoken work. But my point is, why all this training? Why all this training if it's so simple? Simplest job in the world, facilitating. Why is it so simple? Or why is there so much training if it's so simple? The training is not for learning how to handle different situations or for gaining knowledge about different kinds of stresses that people bring. It's not about solving problems or being like better at solving them or better. No, it's just really about unlearning more than learning anything at all. But what needs to be unlearned? The tendency of many of us is to want to help. We don't want someone to suffer, or we want to be a hero who saves the day. And in any case, the work is something different. It's self-inquiry. One finds one's own answers inside oneself. A facilitator is just there to hold the space and to be a witness. If I want to help, I can end up interfering with the person's inner process. I can end up interrupting the person's meditation. And if you can imagine sitting meditating and somebody's just every once in a while speaking to you or interrupting, it's distracting. It's not facilitating, it's making it more difficult. So that desire to help, even though it's coming from a good place, can end up interfering with the person's process. So what has to be unlearned is the idea that their work, the person's work, has anything actually to do with me. It's not about me. And this takes time. And the most effective means I find for letting go of this idea is to question all the motives that come up when I'm actually facilitating. For example, I want them to have a good experience. It's a motive. I want. It's a good thing, but it's stressful. I'm actually pushing, I'm in their business a little bit, and I'm not in a relaxed place. I want to be a good facilitator. Okay, yeah, noble aspiration, but notice what happens when you think that thought. I want to be a good facilitator. A whole lot of pressure, self-evaluation. I'm judging myself as I go. I'm hoping they're liking it. Like I'm trying to please them. I get confused. I start interrupting more. I start interfering. Or likewise, I need them to stop suffering. Okay, when I'm thinking that, now I'm really the one that's joining in and having a problem because I can't be free until they're free. I'm dependent on them to break through so that I can relax. So who would I be without that thought? I need them to stop suffering. I would just be present with them, whether they break through or not break through. And that's a much more neutral and helpful space when facilitating. Or I want them to be grateful for my help. This is a good one. Yeah, I want that gratitude. I want them to be like, oh yeah, you're the best, and like rave about me and all that. Like, okay, yeah, and we're just being honest here. Like these are the kinds of thoughts that can come up. And so questioning thoughts like this can help so much because you start turning them around and start finding, I don't want them to be grateful for my help. I want me to be just taking care of myself, them taking care of themselves. And there's this healthy independence there. And I want that more actually. Or I want them to work with me again. That's another good one. Turn it around. I don't want them to work with me again. It's fine. Like I don't need them to just keep coming back. I want me to work with me again. That's the turnaround. I want me to work with me again. Let me just keep working with myself again and again, and then let clients come and go as they will. Or one of my favorites, I want them to see what I'm seeing. I've got this bright insight inside and I want them to see it. So I'm like, hello, wait, I've got something to tell you. I've got something. And it interferes with their meditation process. So these are motives. These are kind of examples of motives that they can all be questioned with the 4 questions and the turnarounds. This is what the training is for. When you question motives like these again and again in different situations where you're facilitating someone, you start to gain a new perspective. You start to see that where they go with their work is their business. You start to trust them and their wisdom. And you start to trust the 4 questions and the turnarounds. And there's a lot less trying to control the situation and make sure it has a certain outcome. That stuff falls away when you question your thoughts, your motives, as we've just been looking at. Then truly facilitating becomes what is meant to be, the easiest job in the world. Just sitting with a virtual chair pulled up to the fire of someone's internal meditation process. Nothing could be more delightful. But if there's a motive to change them, or to save them, or to look good, then forget it. Then facilitating, if you can even call it that, is difficult indeed. You actually make it harder for them instead of easier for them, and you make it harder for yourself at the same time. The heart of the training. Questioning motives and doing the work is all that the training to be a facilitator entails. You can do this training anywhere with anyone, and the freedom deepens with practice. If you want to start the process, I invite you to take the Work 101 course, and there we do a lot of the work and we question some motives from facilitating too. So join us. And let's end with a quote from Byron Katie from her book, Questioning Your Thinking, Change the World. When someone is facilitating the work, giving the 4 questions, he's receiving at another level what I originally received inside me. If he's really facilitating from a neutral position without any motive, then he's in the place where I am on the other side. It just gains in its freedom. It's in or out, unlimited.